So we continue further with the chapter machines. So we just discussed the terms which are used in machine, that was a load, effort, mechanical advantage, velocity ratio, work input, work output and efficiency. Okay, these were the 7 terms which we used in the machines, or we should be aware about in machines. Now we see the principle of machine. So normally what is the principle of anything? It should be output is equal to input. Yeah, so same way machines का principle भी same है, that work input should be equal to work output. So let's see what exactly they say. When energy is supplied to a machine by applying the effort, it overcomes the load by doing some useful work on it. The point at which the energy is supplied to the machine by applying the effort is called as the effort point. The point where the energy is obtained by overcoming the load is called as the load point. So we have got 2 points on the machine. One point over there is the one which is going to be on which we are going to apply the effort. So point at which we apply the effort is called as the effort point. And the point at which the load is going to be applied, or we can say the machine is going to apply the force on the load, that is called as the load point, or where we place the load is called as the load point. Input energy is the work done at the effort point. So what is the input energy? Input energy, so when I am giving some input to a machine, what is that? That is the energy which I am giving it to the machine. So what is that energy? That is nothing but the effort. Okay, the input energy is the work done at the effort point. Whatever work I am doing at the effort point, okay, that is the input energy. And that input energy, so we have over here first of all input energy is equals to work done on effort point, done at effort point. Okay, the work done at the effort point is the input energy. Now work done, what is work? Force into displacement. So therefore it will be force. What is the force? Nothing but the effort. And what is the displacement? Displacement of the effort. So E into dE, right? Effort into displacement of the effort. So effort into displacement of the point of application of effort is called as the work input energy. Now let's see the output energy. What will be output energy? Output energy will be, of course, work done at load point. So at the load point, what is going to happen? This is load is nothing but load into the displacement of the load, that is dl. Okay, so load into displacement of the load will be the thing over here. So you can load into displacement of the point of application of load is called as the output energy. So input energy, output energy. Now according to the ideal machine, what is the ideal machine? जहाँ भी कोई losses नहीं है. An ideal machine is the one which does not have any losses. That means its efficiency is 100%. जितना मैंने फोर्स डाला, एफर्ट डाला, उतना मुझे लोड मिला, लोड का ओवरकम द लोड मिला. सो वट एवर वर्क डन आई हैव डन एट द एफर्ट, आई एम गोइंग टू गेट इक्वल अमाउंट ऑफ वर्क डन एट द लोड. इन सच अ केस वी से दैट फॉर आइडियल मशीन, an ideal machine that is 100% efficiency, input is equals to or output energy is equals to input energy. Okay, output energy is equal to input energy in case of an ideal machine. So the useful work done by the machine, that is output energy, can never be greater than the work done on the machine, that is the input energy. Otherwise it will violate the principle of conservation of energy. Therefore no machine can ever have an efficiency greater than 100%. Yes, if I say that if I do a work on the machine of, let's say, 1 joule, and if I'm getting an output of 2 joule, that means it is going against the law of conservation of energy, because I cannot generate energy, I can only transfer it from one form to another. So if I have applied a particular kind of an effort on one part, or I am going to have a similar or same over there. So that's why efficiency can never be more than 100%. So 100% is का efficiency है, that is an ideal machine. So ideal machine is that in which there is no loss of energy in any manner. Here the output work is equal to the work input. That is, efficiency of machine is 100%. So in case of a ideal machine, the output energy is equals to input energy, or we can say efficiency is equals to 100%. But is there an actual means ideal machine? No, there is never an ideal machine. There is always going to be some other the losses taking place. So that, what are they called? They are called as actual machine. Okay. So what is an actual machine? It is an actual machine. In actual machine, the output energy will always less than the input energy. Okay, because the input energy जो हम लोग ने किया है उसमें बहुत सारा losses में चला जाएगा. Friction loss, there will be some elasticity का loss, कुछ ना कुछ. Some other thing losses will be there. Weight of the body का loss, कुछ ना कुछ होते जाएगा. So you can see that the output energy is always less than the input energy. Therefore, there is some loss of energy during its operation. The loss of energy in a machine is due to the following three reasons. First one, moving parts in it are neither weightless nor smooth or frictionless. Okay, so first thing is that the moving parts are not weightless nor they are frictionless. Like for example, if I take over here, अगर मैंने सीजर लिया तो सीजर का वेट तो है ना, उतना तो मुझे ज़्यादा उठाना पड़ रहा है. स्पैनर लिया तो स्पैनर का तो वेट है, राइट? या तो पुली लिया तो पुली एकदम फ्रीली मूविंग नहीं है, वो भले उधर लटका हुआ है, उसका वेट नहीं है. पुली फ्रीली मूविंग नहीं है, देयर इज अ फ्रिक्शन टेकिंग प्लेस, इट्स नॉट सो स्मूथ, right? So there will be some kind of a friction or weight which is going to be applied. Secondly, the string in it, if any, is not perfectly elastic. जब हम लोग खींचते हैं, what happens? Sometimes the effort is just required to just stretch it to its maximum, because the load will be there. At that time, it is going to be tension. वो elasticity क्या है? It is going to stretch. So whatever effort you used, हम लोग ने यहाँ पे 1 मीटर घुमाया, पर एक्चुअली क्या हुआ, 1 मीटर में से मे बी 100 सेंटीमीटर्स गॉट यूज्ड अप इन जस्ट ओवरकमिंग द इलास्टिसिटी. क्योंकि जब भी खींचा तो सिर्फ टाइटनेस, वो रोप का सिर्फ टाइटनेस होने के लिए सम ऑफ द एनर्जी वाज यूटिलाइज्ड. सो द thread which is used may not be completely elastic, not perfectly elastic. And finally, its different parts are not perfectly rigid. Okay, they are not perfectly rigid also. There may be chances that some of the thing will need to be will be waste. There will be waste of energy in that case. So rigidity भी नहीं हुआ तो भी हो सकता है, elasticity of the thread or rigidity of the particular substance. So this way there are three points, or you can say the three reasons why a machine may not be a ideal machine. One thing is, it is the parts are neither weightless nor smooth or frictionless. Neither the strings are perfectly elastic and nor the parts completely rigid. So that's why you are going to lose. So no, the most prominent loss of energy is overcoming the force of friction between the moving parts of the machine. The energy so lost appears as heat energy, due to which the moving parts of machine get heated up. So you will always find that when the machine runs, the machine is running, at that time the machine gets heated up. You can गाड़ी भी देखेंगे, गाड़ी का if you go for long distance, after if you check the bonnet of the car, it will be hot. Why is it hot? Because the engine which is moving, the movement of the engine, भले कितना भी oil हो, कुछ भी हो, but it is going to have a lot of friction between them, and the friction is going to be converted into heat energy, and that heat energy is going to be available on the machine. So machine will lose, see the more of the energy will be lost in heating up the machine, and that's the main loss of energy in the form of friction. If a machine is 80% efficient, it implies that 80% of the total energy supplied to the machine at the effort point is obtained as useful energy at the load point. So if I say that the efficiency of the machine is 80% or 90% or 70%, that means whatever effort I applied, out of that thing, only 70% or 80% was available at the load point. So effort point पे 100% गया है, but वो effort point से transfer होते होते जब ये load point पे पहुंचा, तब तक 30% of that particular thing, of 20% of that particular effort energy has been lost. So the remaining 20% of energy supplied is lost in overcoming the force of friction, etc. and it appears as heat energy in its different parts due to which they get heated up. So you can see that always the certain parts, when you are doing some kind of machine का कुछ काम करेंगे तो कोई ना कोई heating वगैरह होगा. So that heating वगैरह जो भी होता है, that is going to be losses which are going to be generated as the loss in the efficiency. So now let's see the relationship between efficiency, mechanical advantage and the velocity ratio. So we'll have this particular. Now this derivation is very, very, very important. You need to learn this derivation completely by heart because they do ask question that derive a relationship between efficiency, mechanical advantage and velocity ratio. So we go this way. So right now, let us first write down the formula for mechanical advantage and velocity ratio. So first thing, okay, all else mean that we start with the work first. So it is work. So we see over here that work input is equals to effort into displacement of the effort. Work output is equals to load into displacement of the load, because work is force into displacement. So force is the effort and the displacement is of the displacement of the effort, or output के लिए load is the force and displacement to the load is over here. Now we know that efficiency by definition is the ratio of work output upon work input. Okay, work output upon work input is efficiency, right? So therefore let's substitute the values over here. So efficiency is equals to work output is L into dL upon E into dE. Got it? Now we can easily split this up. So we can say it is L upon E into dL upon dE, right? Now we know L upon E, but dL upon dE के पहले dE upon dL होता, तो it would have been velocity ratio. So let us do one thing. We can write this as L upon E into 1 upon dE upon dL, because denominator का denominator is numerator. So I can write it as dE upon dE, 1 upon dE upon dL. So this is nothing but mechanical advantage and this is nothing but 1 upon VR. So accordingly efficiency is equals to MA upon VR. This is the relationship of efficiency, MA and VR, or we can also write it as MA is equals to efficiency into VR. So this could be the relationship, that MA, the mechanical advantage of the machine, is equal to the product of the efficiency into velocity ratio. Now we always know that is also one of the reason we write it this way, because velocity ratio is always constant. I told you velocity ratio of any machine is always constant. Efficiency अगर 100% है तो दोनों equal हो जाएगा. अगर efficiency 70% है तो MA will be 70% of VR. If efficiency is 50%, then MA will be 50% of VR. So you can see that VR being constant, MA will be percentage of VR depending upon the efficiency of the machine. So for an ideal machine, free from friction, etc., work output is equal to work input. So the efficiency is equal to 1 or 100%. So the mechanical advantage, if this is 1, mechanical advantage will be equal to VR. So we can say that for ideal machine, efficiency is equal to 1, therefore MA is equal to VR. Right? But in actual practice, of course, the mechanical advantage for all practical machines is always less than its velocity ratio. So MA under normal machines, for actual machine, always MA will be less than VR. Always. This is always going to be there, irrespective of any machine. So, or the output work is always less than the input work, so the efficiency is less than 1, or efficiency due to some loss of input energy against the force of friction, etc. So this is the important derivation, this is the important kind of a form of the derivation of, or the relationship of efficiency MA and VR. So we see MA is equals to efficiency into VR. For ideal machine, MA is equals to VR, and for actual machine, MA is less than VR. Now we come to the next part of the chapter, that is the first kind of machine. So now we will be seeing the different kinds of machine. In your syllabus, you have got only two kinds of machines. One is a lever and second is a pulley. So lever, of course, there are three kinds of lever, and in pulleys also there are different kinds of pulleys, but the major kind of a heading for the machine which we'll be learning or we'll be understanding will be a lever and a pulley. So the first one over here now is lever. So now we see levers. Levers, this could also be a lever. Yes, this a rod, simple rod could be a lever. Okay, levers are just straight rods, or you can just say that they are very simple kind of devices which can be used. A bottle opener is a lever. Okay, the oar with which the boating is done, that is also a lever. Okay, so the levers are very simple kind of devices. So lever are the simplest kind of machines used in our daily life. A lever is a rigid, straight or bent bar which is capable of turning about a fixed axis. Okay, you can turn this around the fixed axis. You can turn it like this. You can put it like this. Rowing के लिए कर सकते हैं. तो ये एक simple rod है which could be either a straight bar or it could be bent. तुम लोगों ने देखा रहेगा बहुत जगह पे ऐसा बेंट रहता है. इट विल बी लाइक बेंट लाइक दिस, ऐसे करके. सो दैट क्या कि यहाँ पे अगर स्टोन है तो स्टोन के नीचे घुसा के उसके बाद उसको रोल कर सके. ओके, सो दैट इज व्हाई दिस इज स्ट्रेट लाइक ओवर हियर, बट देयर इज अ बेंट ओवर हियर, सो दैट यू कैन पुश इट below the stone and then roll it out. Okay, so that's why this is just a simple kind of a straight or a bent kind of a rod which is capable of turning about a fixed axis. That turning at that fixed axis is called as a fulcrum. So when I am putting it over here ऐसे करके, तो यहाँ पे जो fixed axis जो है जिसके ऊपर ये turn हो रहा है, तो ये particular point is called as a fulcrum. Like for example when you are rowing, so अगर दोनों हाथ से rowing करते हैं तो कैसा होता है कि वो रो जो है it is in a hook. Okay, they will always find that there is a hook on which the row is being fixed and then you are just pushing it this way. So you are rowing, so you can see over here ऐसा है, और तो ये ऐसे ऐसे जाएगा. तो ये जो fixed point है, that is the fulcrum. So the fixed point, so the axis about which the lever turns passes through a point on the lever which is called the fulcrum. So that is the axis from where it turning is going to take place, is the fulcrum. It is generally marked with the letter F. So what you have over here are three things for this: the fulcrum. First is the fulcrum given as F. Of course, there are the load on which the load point will be there at the load point, and effort at the effort point. So these are the three things which will be there on a lever. There will be 3 points on the lever. One will be the load, other will be the load point where the load is going to be applied, effort point where the effort is going to be applied, and the fulcrum, which is the point at which the movement of that particular lever takes place. So it is generally marked with the letter F. This point does not move but remains fixed when the lever is in use. So when it is in use, even when it is used, it is going to be fixed. Like a simple example of a lever could also be seesaw. Okay, seesaw. अभी seesaw जो है उसमें क्या होता है, ये point पे ये इधर steady है, that is fixed, and then it is turning like this and like this, like this and like this. तो एक जगह पे लोड है तो दूसरी जगह पे एफर्ट है, एंड इट इज जस्ट गोइंग लाइक इन. तो ये पर्टिकुलर पॉइंट जहाँ पे ये कंप्लीटली फिक्स्ड है, दैट पर्टिकुलर पॉइंट इज कॉल्ड एज द fulcrum. So this is then this point over here, this over here, this point over here, this point, that point is called as the fulcrum. So now the principle of the lever, mechanical advantage of the lever. Figure 3.1 shows a lever of a straight rod AB with a fulcrum at F. An effort E applied at the point A of the lever overcomes a load L at the point B. From the fulcrum F, the distance FA to the point A at which the effort is applied is called as the effort arm, and the distance FB at the point B at that load X is the load arm. Okay, so let's understand this thing, what they say. This is a rod A, I'll write it here as AB, and this is the fixed point, which is the fulcrum. So this is the fulcrum. Now, if this is the place where the load is going to be applied and this is the place where the effort is going to be applied, then FA from here to here, this distance is called as the load arm. Okay, load arm. And from here to here is called as the effort arm. Okay, so that's why this is the load arm and this is the effort arm. Now, so for an ideal lever, it is assumed that the rod is weightless and there is no friction at the fulcrum. Okay, we are considering that there is no friction in the fulcrum, and it's an ideal machine, ideal rod, जिसका कोई rod का भी कोई weight नहीं है, तो rod का भी कोई झंझट नहीं, कुछ नहीं है. A lever works on the principle of movement. So now what will happen? This lever would act on the principle of movement. क्योंकि ये क्या है, fulcrum है. What is the fulcrum? The point, pivoted point. Remember, force का first chapter, that is pivoted point. This is anti-clockwise movement. This is clockwise movement. So the lever also works on the principle of moment, or also called as equilibrium था वो उसमें, पर यहाँ पे equilibrium हो भी सकता है और नहीं भी हो सकता है, because you are applying a machine है ये. तो principle of movement क्या है? That sum of clockwise equal to sum of anti-clockwise movement, right? So according to this, what is happening? It is sum of clockwise movement is equals to sum of anti-clockwise. We will do one thing. This is anti-clockwise. We will put over here anti-clockwise. It is sum of clockwise movement. Sum of anti-clockwise movement is equal to sum of clockwise movement. So over here, if I see this one, what is this? This is nothing but what is the moment over here? Load is the F L into load arm. So it will be here load into load arm. Load into load arm, or we can say over here L into FA is equals to effort into effort arm. Effort arm over here is FB. FB is effort arm, right? Load into load arm is equals to effort into effort arm. So accordingly we will have it as load upon effort is equals to FB, that is effort arm upon load arm. Got it? Effort arm upon load arm. So load upon effort. What is load upon effort? Mechanical advantage. Yes. So we see load upon effort is equals to this way. That's work. Therefore, MA is equals to effort arm upon load arm. Effort arm upon load arm is the mechanical advantage of a lever. Did you understand this? So mechanical advantage of a lever will be given by, so the relationship is known as the law of levers. Thus, mechanical advantage of a lever is equal to the ratio of the length of the effort to the length of the load arm. So length of the effort arm to the length of the load arm. That is called as the mechanical advantage of a lever. Is it clear to you? So you will see now that there are three kinds of lever. So for example, for now we can say that the effort arm. So if you see that effort arm is equals to load arm, then what would happen? MA is equals to 1. Okay. Secondly will be if effort arm is greater than the load arm. Okay, if effort arm is greater than load arm, उसका मतलब क्या है? MA is greater than 1. And if effort arm is less than load arm, then MA will be less than 1. So you will see that over here, by this you can also identify whether it's a force multiplier or a speed gainer. So here, if effort arm is greater than the load arm, okay, if effort arm is greater than the load arm, then automatically MA is greater than 1. If it is greater than 1, that means in such a case, so there are force multipliers, the effort arm will be bigger and load arm. So you can see here, effort arm is bigger, load arm is smaller. This will be MA is equals to 1. This is a force multiplier. This is a force multiplier. For a smaller load, for a smaller effort, you can lift a bigger load. So here it's a force multiplier. Whereas if this same thing would have been कि ये फलक्रम यहाँ पे के बदले अगर यहाँ पे होता, like in case of scissors, the blade is so long, but this is very small. Effort arm is small and this is bigger. In such a case, it is a MA is less than 1. That means in such a case, it will be a gain in speed. Got it? So you'll always find it. Obviously, the mechanical advantage of the lever can be increased either by increasing its effort arm or decreasing the load arm. That is by shifting the fulcrum towards the load. So I can increase the mechanical advantage. I can increase the mechanical advantage by just making this fulcrum move towards the load. If I move this fulcrum towards the load, that is reducing the effort, load arm, you will always increase the effort arm and you will automatically increase the mechanical advantage. So now this was about the principle of the lever. Now we see the different kinds of lever. So the different kinds of lever are basically three kinds, three classes of lever. So we'll just understand them one by one. We'll take it in the next video.